Hey, wonderful readers. I am so excited you're here for our next book chat for my currently releasing fantasy serial series on Wings of Ash and Dust. This time we're talking all about episode 5, Cavern of Terrors, the Kobold Race, where we'll discuss all things spoilery for this episode, like more insider details about the characters, how I plotted this episode, behind the scenes reveals, and more. I'm also super excited to share about how you can get involved with the books competition in real life as we honor this episode's trial of creativity in a really special way. Here's a sneak peek of what's coming, but we'll talk more about this later. Also, in case you're tuning in for the first time, I have a playlist of all the related series read along videos we've done so far, like our other behind the scenes chats about past episodes, just like we're doing right now, some activities we did, like our series trivia game, and our really fun discussions on topics like writing a series, creating compelling characters, how to make a fantasy world feel real, and what I've learned from rapid releasing my series. I'll leave the playlist of all of those down below if you need to catch up on any of them. And if you guys have sort of been here with us the whole time for the read along, let me know which of these kind of chats have been the most fun for you. Has it been the book chats? Has it been the kind of writer storytelling topics or like a specific topic we've covered? I'd love to know. And finally, this is where I warn you that if you haven't read all the way through episode 5 yet, we don't want to spoil anything for you. So definitely check out the book links below to catch up on the episodes first, and then come back to this video to experience all the fun. But for all of you that are here and excited to start chatting, you guys know I love to just say hi to you guys and get the conversation going. So let me know, as always, which of the fairy clans in my book you belong to. And also, what behind the scenes episode 5 detail are you most hoping to hear about? Anything specific from episode 5 you'd like to know more about? Let me know. And if you don't know what fairy clan you belong to yet, as always, you can take the quick fairy clan quiz, which is linked down below in the description and is on my website. While you're there, you can also join the Facebook group for this series to get to know other readers and never miss what's going on with the books and the read along. And if you're a YouTube member, don't forget that you can use the fun character emojis by Arctic Paintbrush during our chat too, like Hickory's laughing emoji here, which I think is super cute. But let me pull my face up here a little bit bigger, and I'm going to check who is here. I see Ingrid. And I love what Ingrid said. She said, this episode 5 was so good. I thought for sure 4 would be my favorite, but I had forgotten how awesome this whole part of the story was because she was an early beta reader. And it's better than I remember from baiting. So I'm so excited to hear that. I was telling Ingrid earlier as we were chatting in the chat that I was like, this episode is definitely the shortest of all of the 6, but I'm really excited that you guys enjoyed it and thought it was still full and action packed and exciting. So yay. JJ agreed with that. So I love it. Hi, Courtney and Leanne and Danya. And let's see, Allie. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Yes, happy Tuesday. Guys, we have 1 week left until episode 6 comes out. Like the whole series will be out. That's crazy. Can you believe it? Courtney says, so glad I can make it tonight. Cavern of Terrors is creative. I'm so glad that fits perfectly because of the ethos of creativity. Leanne, I'm going to start right off by saying I'm not okay with what happened to Luna. I'm not okay with, I hope nobody's okay with what happened to Luna. It was, yeah, not good business. And that cliffhanger hurt me. Good job. Thanks. Courtney Kobe says, I don't know why I just said your full name, Courtney. It's been a long day. Poor Luna, but she is a fighter. Yes, and we'll talk a little bit more about Luna when we get to characters. Dania says, I love everything. The world building was amazing. Yay! I had to work a lot on the world building for the Kobold tunnels because everybody kept saying that they just wanted more and more. So I really tried to work on that. We have a Sylph from JJ. Another Sylph is Courtney. We have a Dryad, Ingrid. Crystal, I'm so glad you made it. Hopefully your internet sticks with us this time. I know there's been some issues in the past chats. Jennifer, Team Dryad, woo woo. Dania, Team Gwillian. Jackie, technically I'm a kobold, but I fit Dryad better. That is totally fine. Leanne, how long is episode 6? So episode 6 is just about as long, if not maybe a tad longer, than episode 1 and episode 4, which were the longer episodes at like 30,000 words. So it sits right around there. And then it's funny because then the other 3 episodes, 2, 3, and then this one, 5, are closer to like 23, 25, 26,000 words. But this one will definitely be jam-packed with a lot of goodness. So it's definitely on the longer side. Crystal, Team Dryad, and episode 5 was amazing. Yay! Jennifer, let's see. I'm the other direction. I'm a Dryad, but I fit Kobold better. Well, you guys can just switch then. I love it. Leanne is talking to you guys too. I'd go with Dryad because they seem the least insane. And I love Alice. Yes. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, and I see Jennifer says, how did you choose Hickory's name? Sorry if you've answered this before. I don't think I have. My brain is kind of mush right now. That's totally fine, Jennifer. I don't think I have. And honestly, you know, hickory is like a normal word, right? You can look it up in the dictionary. And I think that I just saw it somewhere and I was like, that would make a cool character name. And I can't remember for the life of me if I like it was one of those names that I saw somewhere and I wrote it down as like, you know, like in like a character name brainstorm bank. And then when I was picking names for this story, like I saw it in the bank and I picked it, or if it was like I was like brainstorming his character and like I saw the word hickory and I was like, that would make a cool character name. So I wish I could remember, but I feel like it was something like that. I might have it written down in one of my like early series Bibles, but I'd have to look. But that's a great question. Air says, I love how this episode really delivered on the grittiness goes well with the look and feel of the underground caverns too. Yes, good. And I was a little like, you know, with Leanne saying that, like, yeah, the kobolds can be a little insane. They can be, but you also got Hickory, who's like quirky, but like not insane. And I didn't have the bandwidth to really introduce even more of the kobolds, just because when I put the whole book together, it's going to already be like such a big book. We also have Luna. Luna is a kobold, right? Even though she's a pirate. So we love Luna, right? So they're not all like terribly insane. They're just very quirky. And some of them, especially who are in power or like the leading mob of them, can get a little bit to the eccentric side, shall we say. But I'm glad you like the grittiness. And yeah, they definitely have the most like grit and intensity, I think. So I'm glad you liked it. Yay, Alba, right? Sort of Blaze, Alba. Hey, from the UK. Woo woo. What time is it there, by the way? Dania also says, I enjoyed seeing all the internal conflict Quinn was having with herself. Yes. And this is where, if you look at the whole series, episode 5 would land in like the end of the bad guys close in, leading into like the all is lost kind of beats. So we definitely have this place where all is lost, dark night of the soul. It kind of bleeds into episode 6 as well, but that's kind of where the character arc really should be wrestling with a lot of things. And so I'm glad that that came across, because that's what I was working on. Courtney says, the darkness of the plot combined with the tunnels. Yes, I'm glad. Ara, I'm so sorry, Ara. Ugh, I'm always trying to remember names, but when they're not in your usernames, I get confused. Ara, you're wonderful. Glad I made it. Yay. Okay. And it's, oh my gosh, that's really early, right? 0:08. Do you mean that that's like way in the morning? I might be reading that wrong. But hi, Ara. So sorry again. Okay, so let's move in. You guys have kind of already been saying a few things already, but let's move in to some of your favorite characters. Since reading episode 5, have they changed at all? Do you have any new ones? Obviously, we have the 5 competitors. Quinn, our main character of the Gwillians, Vale of the Sylphs, Aaron of the Nymphs, Alice of the Dryads, and Hickory of the Kobolds. And I just wanted to add here, because there is one tidbit about him that I forgot to include when we were talking about developing characters a few weeks ago. So part of what really inspired Hickory's character was my love for the TV show Heroes. I have the TV show's kind of cover of the cover of the series there. And so if you know what Heroes is, if you've watched it before, let me know. I loved at least the first few seasons of that show. And there was a character in the first season called Isaac Mendez. He in the show, he is a painter that has the ability to paint the future. He gains that ability. And so in this story, it's like in the real world, but then people are all of a sudden getting like meta abilities. And so at first, for Isaac, his ability would take hold of him without him trying, and his eyes would kind of mist over. So you can see some of the connections to Hickory already. So painter and like kind of painting the future. And so when I saw that and like was thinking about how to set up some things for the prophecy and things in this book, I was like, oh, like he would be a great inspiration for this character that I'm developing. He was also a recovering drug addict in the show, and so I kind of have ties with Hickory, kind of using pixie dust as a drug to help him with the pain in his eye. So not exactly the same, but similar. And Isaac also thought his ability was related to the use of drugs, which we've kind of played with. Is it the pixie dust that's making Hickory have these visions? Not really. And that's what Isaac is also finding out, that it wasn't the drugs, that he has this ability on his own. So anyway, that was just a fun thing that I forgot to say in an earlier chat, and I'm interested when I get to the comments if you guys know what show I'm talking about. But in addition to the main cast, we also saw the Kobold rulers. So we had Lord Zephin and Lady Irina, especially in the beginning of the episode. We had a little scene with them and Hickory. And then there were some other key scenes with Faden that we'll get to talk about. And we also saw a couple of kobolds. One of them was named Beckett, that runs the tunnel library. We saw Luna again from episode 1. And then we saw a few instances with Jasper or Moonface, and especially at the end when he reveals himself as a goblin. So let me know some of your favorite characters, and then we'll go into favorite scenes and kind of how I plotted the episode a little bit with the beats. So, okay. Ara is a nice name, and now I'm never going to forget it because I feel so bad about calling you the wrong name. Yes. Okay. Everybody loves your name. I love it. Katie, y'all. Hey, y'all. I just popping in while I'm getting my hair done. Ooh, what are you doing with your hair? I would love to know. I need to get my hair recolored. Let's see. R says, no worries. Just after midnight. Oh, you are a trooper for being here. Thanks. Ingrid, and those who live underground permanently is likely just influenced by their peers to enjoy or at least somewhat partake in the main entertainment provided, whether they truly like it or not. It's very true. Mom mentality, right? Jennifer says it's 8 minutes after midnight where Ara is. Thank you. Yes, that makes sense. Donnie says I watched the first season. Yeah, I think I watched the first 2 or 3. And then the last one that they had, I made myself watch because I wanted to know what happened, but it was pretty bad because I think they had new creators, so I wouldn't recommend it. But the first couple were amazing. And let's see, Ingrid, never watched Heroes. Recommend? I'll just say it again. Yes, definitely, but only like the first 2 or 3 seasons, and then I would stop. Yay, more love for Isaac. Oh, I'm so glad. Mary says, I only saw the first few episodes of the first season of Heroes. I remember that painter character. Oh, great. Awesome. So then a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Loved Heroes. Yes. It's so fun to like find other people who love or are fans of the same things you are. Courtney says, I've seen Heroes, but it's been a long while. It has, definitely. I don't remember the last time I watched it, but the characters obviously had like a big impact on me. I can remember them. So, Crystal, by the way, I'm totally counting this live as part of my Preptober researching stations. Yes, totally. We're talking about story, so it works. It works. Favorite character this episode was Quinn. Yes. And maybe you're like Dania, who is like, the stuff that she really needs to like dig up and kind of go through, really connected with you, I hope. Crystal says, Alice, Quinn, and Hickory are my favorites. We did get to see the trio again together, which was super fun. Ali says, he's not my favorite character for many reasons, but I do like that we've seen a good bit of Faden. I love reading about different family dynamics in books, particularly fantasy. Yay, I'm glad. We do have some semi, like, kind of redemptive moments or possibly moments of hope with him. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think of that as we talk about scenes. Jay says, love Quinn, Aaron, and Hickory in this episode. Yeah, we did have like some really fun moments with Aaron too, especially when he helps Quinn save Luna, right? That was a fun scene. And then Courtney says, Quinn, Hickory, and Alice are tied. And Vale, Aaron moved to last in this episode. Oh no, sad. Was there a particular reason? Katie says, the ultimate trio. Yes, agreed, agreed. Ingrid, I kind of love them all, so it's always hard to name my favorite character. That's fine. It's all good. I'm glad that you love them all. That's totally good. Mary says, favorite characters were Quinn, Hickory, and Alice. Yes. Katie, I cannot wait to watch this replay. Such a great book. Yes. Katie, I'm so glad you still enjoy watching the replays, even though you can't be here live. Thanks so much for popping in. Okay. So now that we've talked about characters, we're going to move on to favorite scenes. And some of you have said these already, but we can talk a little bit more about them before we get into behind the scenes stuff. And as a quick reminder, we're in a brand new province for this episode. So far in the series, we've seen the Gwyllions and Grey Marrow, which we'll visit again in episode 6, the Sylphs in Eldor, the Nymphs in Isinglass, the Dryads in the Woodlands / Vendoria, and now the Kobolds in Tartarus. If you missed them, we've gone over the story beat outlines for episodes 1 through 4 in previous book chats, but here is the outline and key scenes from episode 5, just as a reminder. In the setup, we had the opening image of Quinn reflecting on the kiss with Aaron and what does that mean? And then Layman and Ivy teaching Quinn sign language as a thank you for saving Alice in the last episode. So that was sort of like a little bit of a redemptive scene for Layman as well. Then we have some more of the fun and games. So we travel to Tartarus, the Kobold City, and we meet Hickory's parents and see the dynamics there. We see a little bit of Hickory's room, and they learn more about the prophecy potentially and the mystics. And then we have the first view of the labyrinth. And this is where Quinn sees Luna that has to go through the labyrinth, and they're all seeing what they're going to have to endure for the trial of creativity. Then right after that, Quinn and Aaron stumble across Moonface and the Kobe Express, where he's smuggling tons of pixie dust and also fairies like Luna. And we still don't know why, but we might find out in the next episode. Then we get the bad guys close in beats. So this is where we go to the tunnel library that Hickory shows them through Beckett. And I think I just pronounced his name wrong, but that's fine. And then the mystics, they do some mystic research in the libraries there with Alice and Hickory. And then Alice and Hickory get an idea about how Quinn can maybe harness and control her fire ability a little bit more. And so Alice enters Quinn's memories. And this is where they access a memory she's long forgotten, where Quinn's mom gets caught in a fire, and Quinn has this all is lost kind of moment where she believes that she was the one who killed her mom with her own fire ability. And she then distances herself from the others after seeing Faden and having a short discussion with him, basically having this inkling that perhaps Faden holds a grudge against her because she killed her mom, and but also that he hints at the fact that he actually cares about her more than she initially thought. So we have some inklings there, and then we get the Queen's message, paper message to Quinn that has the picture of the ship that she's still intending to give her as long as she keeps doing what she's doing, training Vale, and eventually making sure that Vale wins in the end. Then we have the finale, which a lot of the episodes use the trial to actually be the finale. Quinn faces a lot of riddles and obstacles, and ultimately faces Moonface at the end as a goblin. And then she kills him. She survives, and she's gets rushed off to the infirmary with the other competitors because all of them are injured but survived. And Quinn realizes that her fire is gone. She's totally cold. She's numb. She can't summon the heat or anger that usually makes it go. And at the end, we have this cliffhanger too that the ancient tome is gone. Hickory can't find it. Somebody has taken it. So, I saw a lot of comments coming through, so I'm going to scroll back and see what you guys were saying. Let's see here. So, Leanne says Quinn realizing she sees the others as friends and wishing they could help each other in the maze was your favorite moment. Yes, that's definitely part of her arc, and I'm really glad you enjoyed that moment. Courtney says yes, there is a reason. It might be a spoiler. It's dialogue related. He has a redeemable quality, though. Okay, good. Well, we'll see what happens in episode 6. Mary says freeing Luna and the memories, the heartbreaking memories. Yes, definitely. Those kind of scenes were like really like heavy, but also really fun to write and kind of pull out of Quinn as well. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed them. Ingrid says library scene is so good, yay! And the trial itself definitely. And arriving in Tartarus was really cool too. I'm glad that that was fun. I will say it in a little bit again, but I really worked on describing the city and getting into the city. That scene had to like kind of be reworked a couple times. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. This episode really was packed with scene after scene that was just nerve wracking and couldn't stop reading. Yes, that's what I want. So yay. Leanne says, why has Quinn never considered that she got her fire from her mother? So she says in this episode, because they have that conversation, that her, at least from her father's side, there's no mystics in their bloodline. And then she says that her mother's origin was, of her father was worked in the city, and as far as she knows, there's no mystic bloodline there because the mystics were um, run out of the city very early on. So as far as Quinn knows, there's no reason to think that. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what comes about that. Courtney says, I never read a fantasy book with so many plot twists that leads to all the questions. I mean this in a good way. Yay. I know it's a lot. And there were times where I was like, oh, is there anything that I can like give away sooner so it's not like all kind of at the end? But every time I tried to do that, it just wasn't working. And I was like, you know what? The last episode is just going to be jam packed. All the things are going to come out. So I hope you guys are excited. All of you that are getting early copies, I have them ready to send right after this chat. So get ready. Do we trust the queen? This is a great question that I will not comment on, but I love Leanne's question to everybody else. If you want to share, do we trust the queen? Crystal says, honestly, the scenes with technology, even mentioned in passing, grabbed my attention. I really like steampunk, but the scene between Quinn and Faden was my favorite. Yay. Yeah, they have a pretty intense scene there. Again, the dialogue in there was really fun to write. I absolutely love the magic communication. Yay. I'm so glad. Courtney says to Leanne, no, I don't trust the queen. So we have someone saying no. Allie says the library scene is star eyes. I like seeing the difference between the Tartarus and Eldor ones. I also, right, because we've already seen a library in Eldor. So yeah, that's right. We do have this kind of comparison. I also love the flashback with Quinn's mom because it gave us insight into basically everything. So many things. And like, I think it was Courtney was saying, so many questions, so many more questions. Hi, Sabra. So glad you're here. Ingrid says, I think because of Faden's hatred to fire magic ? And because Gwillian's, okay, so I think you were talking to Leanne about why she never assumed her fire could come from her mother. because Gwillians in general dismiss magic and the mystics in general. Exactly. Let's see. Crystal says, absolutely don't trust the queen. Wonder if anyone does. Allie, but I also really liked the trial itself. The maze was a cool idea, and I liked how there was a twist with Moonface included with it. Awesome. We are going to talk a lot about in the behind the scenes stuff about the maze and about Moonface specifically, because I did get some questions from you guys about, actually a lot of questions about those parts. So I do have some fun things to share with you guys. Donnie says, I really want to know more about what happened to the other crew. That is something you should definitely be wondering about. JJ says, can't choose. Love it all so much. Yay. Ara says, comments jumped. They're developing friendships make me so happy. Yay. That is like one of the main things that I really wanted to come through in this story, is that this like kind of misfit group, even though they're like supposed to be the cream of the crop, as they're the heirs of all the clans, they also have a lot of their own baggage. They also have a lot of things that they are struggling with, and it ends up kind of bringing them together and developing friendships, even though they should be fierce competitors. So I'm glad you're enjoying that. Jackie says, the end of the chat so we can read. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're actually doing really good on time too, so we might end before the hour's up. Sarah, how do you get an early copy of your books? Great question. So my patrons get early copies, and my ARC readers and my ARC team get early copies. I'm not accepting anybody else for ARC team or ARC reader, but if you want to become a patron, you will get episode 6 sent to you. There's certain time periods when books are releasing that I give early copies before they release. So as long as it's beforehand, I can still send you one. JJ says, yay, can't wait to read the last episode. It's coming. I don't trust the queen, says Mary, but I do expect a twist from her. Yes. I say bruh, or it's Sabra. Sabra. I'm so sorry. I've been pronouncing it wrong. Sabra. I'll remember that. Jackie says, Leanne, nope, but I bet the queen is going to turn out to not be the bad guy. Still don't like her though. We will see. Trust the queen. I'm thinking no, but she may be the bad guy with the poison. We will see. Leanne, chat, is anyone worried for Vale? Good question. Good questions all around, Leanne. How did Alice answer question in the maze? Did the gargoyles respond to her signs? That's interesting. So if you go back to the trial in Eldor, she did use signs to answer the questions, and there was someone there that could read them. So if they knew that Alice was coming to the trial, they obviously had to have someone that would be able to read the signs, whether that was the gargoyle or somebody behind the scenes that could then communicate to the gargoyle. I will talk about, because you guys were asking what the obstacles and the riddles were for the other competitors, so I'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, they had to figure out some way that she could answer them, obviously. Either that or she could write it down, depending on what her obstacle was, of course. And let's see. Crystal, I'm actually worried for Vale. Could be. I'm not going to say anything. Courtney says, I realize I love everything in this episode. Plot, world building, character development. Yes. Courtney says, to Leanne, I'm worried for Vale and all the others. Yeah, nobody's really safe at this point, you guys. R says, I have a holiday vacation day tomorrow. Woo woo, book day. Yes. So you can just like binge it. Woo woo. I love it. Okay. So since we got through scenes, what I usually share next is behind the scenes and answering any of your guys' questions and hearing your guys' theories. So we can do theories at the end, but here's just some fun behind the scenes stuff. And I'll start with the opening scene. So this episode, again, remembering that this was like one long novel at first, this episode ended up getting cut and trimmed to the point where it opened with Quinn thinking back on Aaron's kiss. And this had to have happened because we ended with their kiss in the last episode, and then going into Lemon and Ivy knocking at the door and all of this. And like this, I think, was the episode beginning that I was most like unsure about, because the events and things that are talked about in this opening scene, this opening image, they're related to things that happen later, but it's not like a perfect bookend necessarily to the end, I don't think. I don't know, maybe you guys think differently, but I really couldn't figure out how not to have this scene or where to put this scene otherwise, and it needed to be there. So I'm curious if you guys like the opening scene, if it felt okay to you. But with my betas, they were saying that it worked. And I really, yeah, wanted Quinn to have more time to learn some sign language and for Quinn to have this like kind of reflective, like, I just kissed Aaron. What does that mean? That she kind of struggles with throughout the episode a little bit. Then we get to traveling to and into Tartarus. I had to work on this scene a ton, like I was saying before. I had to add a lot more sensory detail, but also making sure it wasn't just description of like, now we see this and now we see that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the Kobold City and felt like there was like, yeah, enough dialogue and enough like kind of interacting with the heirs that it was also like uh, compelling and fun to read about, and it wasn't just like description. Some things I had to develop more based on beta feedback. I wanted to too, based on their feedback, was the pixie dust and how they're actually mining crystals, which makes a lot more sense, right? Mining crystals in the tunnels, and then showing later how they're kind of pounded down into pixie dust and how there's different colors, which might be something that I talk a little bit more about after you've read episode 6. But yeah, so that figuring out how pixie dust was made was something that actually came later in the process within the last year. I really developed that. And then things like the tunnelers and how tunnels were created and just different things within the city with the not a palace, what do I call it? The castle with the clock in it, and Hickory's parents also in that scene, and sort of the dynamic between the Lord and Lady and Hickory. And I wanted to say that figuring out his dynamic with his parents, that probably came last in the order of like figuring out the dynamic with parents with all the other heirs. But after I was studying the Enneagram and figuring out that Hickory was a 4, if you read into that and kind of a usual 4's relationship with their parents, usually their insecurity with themselves and not feeling like they fit in can come from parents kind of trying to make them fit a mold. And an Enneagram 4 never wants to fit a mold. And even though the kobolds should be a place that everybody's eccentricities should be the most accepted, we still have his parents and especially his dad thinking that a particular kind of creativity or eccentricity is preferred, especially if you're going to rule. And him looking at Hickory and just seeing that he's painting is not lucrative and it's not, what he does. And so we still have this dynamic of like tension with his father. So I'm going to pause there to see what kind of comments you guys might have, but then I have some more to share. Let's see. Where was I? Let me find it. Okay. Jack says, as long as Alice doesn't die, I'm good. I'm not saying anything. I will say that I do not like to kill off characters, but I'm not saying anything. Tony says, I have mixed feelings about Vale. I don't hate her, but she knows what her mother is up to, or feels something is wrong, but says nothing. Right. So we will see. Episode 6. Athena says, behind the scenes is the best part. I love hearing how you did everything. Yay. Yeah. Let me know if there's anything else specific that you want me to go through as I kind of run through the order of the book. Yep, I got you. Let's see. Jackie says, yeah, I'm glad we got to wrap up with Alice's family. Okay, I'm glad. Okay, good. I liked the opening scene. Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Ear says, I actually really liked the opening. Great for the episodic nature of it to have a little look back so you remember where we last left off. Okay. Awesome. That makes me feel so much better. Kobold City was fascinating. Yay. I really liked the opening too. Yes. I'm so glad. Leanne, Vale seems the most embroiled in her own family in a way that could compromise her. I love all of your thoughts, Leanne. Diane says, I love all the emotions. It was like riding a roller coaster. Yes. Um, Courtney says, Vale's compromised on some level. However, I think the dangers are there for her as well, since she's got a foot toward family and the other toward her friends, right? So she's kind of divided, and we'll see a little bit more of that tension in the next episode. Athena says, I love every time the characters went into the different lands, and the description you used for all of them really made me able to see what they were seeing. Yes, that's such a win, you guys, because I struggled with that early on. So I'm so glad. Ingrid says, I do love how Hickory's father also kind of looked down upon Hickory, preferring to be above ground, because, of course, he would think that his kingdom would be ideal for all kobolds, especially. Right. And that's the other thing. Hickory really loves the whole world. And his dad's like, we're ruling this one. This one's the most important. We got the pixie dust. And like, you can't just be off wherever all the time. Let's see. And Hickory is choosing a different path. It's true. Mary says, I think Vale will become more her own person, but I'm not too worried about her. Okay, cool prediction. Thena says, I think a lot of us creative people can relate with Hickory. I'm sure we're all told at one point our creativeness wasn't a real job. That's right. Oh, I love that connection. Ara says, did you find it easy to split the book into episodes, or did it take a lot of editing? Some parts were easy, and some parts, I think I've explained it in some of the past episodes in the some of the past videos in the read along, where I pretty much like had the bulk, like the middle part was fairly solid, and like some of it was just like fleshing out things. But the hardest part was figuring out where an episode should begin and where it should end. And there was a lot of like, hand it to my developmental editor where I thought it should go. And then she would like say, I think this one actually belongs at the beginning of this one instead of the end of that one. And then doing changes and sending off to my betas, and then hearing again for some parts that like, actually, I think this should move here. And yeah, that was definitely rough. But those were probably the hardest points for me. And then I think I've described that episode 3 was the one that developed and like the scenes changed around the most, like the order of them. I think that was the one that changed the most. Ali says, I know, don't you hate when an author kills off characters just for shock value? It should make sense for the plot or characters themselves. Exactly. Yes, I totally agree. Donnie says, you did amazing job on world building. Thank you. Amanda says, popping in to say hi and super proud of you, Brittany. Thanks, Amanda. Enjoy the live stream, y'all. Thank you, friend. Sweet. So let's get a few more behind the scenes details in here. Who enjoyed the scene where we go into Hickory's room and seeing how chaotic it is? And I will say, how he has all of these things from around the world, some of them that he doesn't even know what they are, but they're so precious to him. And that, I don't know if some of you can already predict it as I'm talking about it, but that was inspired actually from The Little Mermaid and Ariel's like treasure trove, her little place that she carries and keeps all of the human trinkets that she doesn't even know what it is, but it's like so precious and valuable to her. And so I kind of wanted Hickory's room to kind of be his sanctuary and his place where he collected all of these things from around Phelan, so that he could feel like he was in the greater world even when he was stuck in Kobold territory. So that was really fun. And we also had his wall of like all the different sketches and research and stuff. And that was kind of derived obviously from like any kind of detective scene, but also I love Smallville and the TV show Smallville. And Chloe is a character that when they're in high school, she has this wall of weird with all of these articles and things and theories. And I kind of imagined that Hickory was kind of like Chloe in that sense, putting everything on the wall. And some of the puzzle pieces that were kind of revealed or that we got new things about, like the door and the key and all this different kind of stuff that they talked about in that scene. So much more of it will make sense once we get to episode 6. I saw some comments coming through, so I'm just going to look. Let's see. Donnie says, I did. Leanne says Hickory's organized chaos was not at all surprising. Yes, I'm glad it makes sense. Crystal said, I spotted it. Yes. Courtney, Hickory's room is controlled chaos. Exactly. Athena, so that's two from The Little Mermaid. Is one of your favorite Disney? It actually is my probably, yeah, one of my favorite like classic Disney movies. I love singing and I sang a lot when I was younger. So the fact that Ariel like was, you know, a beautiful singer and like all of that, and the show in of itself is just awesome. But that's part of why I love Ariel. And The Little Mermaid. So wait, that's two from The Little Mermaid. Shoot, I'm totally oh, because of Arista. Then is that the other reference you're thinking of? So in Nymph's territory, we have Aaron's betrothed who is Arista, and that comes from The Little Mermaid too. That's so funny. Um, Mary says, I love Hickory's room. I didn't even think of Ariel's room of stuff. Totally makes sense. Yay, little Easter egg. Hickory's room was something I vividly remembered from the early draft, and I loved it. His controlled chaos resonates with me. Awesome. Yeah, we can all relate, right? Like even as I look around my office right now, like you guys are seeing the pretty part, but like everything over there is controlled chaos. Courtney says it would explain why while Aaron oh, I think it's why Aaron reminded me of Sebastian. That's hysterical. I wouldn't have put that together, but I guess I can see some similarities. The Wall of Weird. Yes. Any other Smallville fans, let me know. Nina says The Wall of Weird was fantastic. Lana finding it wasn't good, though. That's true. Ingrid, and it inspired a possible fan art I want to make of him. Are you going to do one for Hickory? I went through like my usual things that I share, and I remembered that last time I shared your art, and I was like, oh, I wonder if we're going to get Hickory fan art. That'd be so great. So let me know if you do, because I would love to see it. Let's see. Ara says his room was fantastic, made so much sense for his character. Yes. Liana, hello. I knew there was a correlation between Hickory's room and The Little Mermaid, and loved how he called it organized chaos. My friend tells me that all the time. Someone picked it out. I love it, Liana. Thanks. Oh my God, I love Smallville. Yes. Yes. Are you looking forward to a live action Little Mermaid or dreading it? I am always cautiously optimistic when they start doing live action, because I think some of them, like I really loved Aladdin's live action, even though some of it I didn't love. Like I liked a good portion of it. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. And then, but like The Lion King, and that was in like really live action. It was a lot of digital remastering, whatever. But I couldn't really get into that one, you know. So it really, I liked Beauty and the Beast, you know, so I feel like I can appreciate them on their own for the most part. So I am cautiously optimistic, but that is a good question. I feel like they've been saying it's going to come for like ever though, and I'm having doubts that it's ever going to actually hit theaters, but I'm excited for it. I figured out the Arista one earlier. Yes, you did. Crystal said, I'm an absolute Disney fan. Yes, Disney. Actually, Ben and I might go to Disney for a little trip this next year, early next year. I don't know. We're still planning it, but oh my gosh, I can't wait. And they have Star Wars World now too. We might make lightsabers. Be so fun. Oh no, typo. That's fine. Sadly, after Mulan 2020, I've lost faith and I forgot about that one. Yeah, that one I really wanted to like that one, but yeah, not one of my favorites either. But I did like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. So, okay, so let me share a little bit more because after those scenes, we get the first view of the labyrinth and the moon-faced encounter. So I'm going to answer a couple questions as I share. But in this scene, I wanted to show the heirs what they were up against, and that there was little that they could do to prepare. So this is a totally different situation than any of the other trials, because they kind of went in mostly blind with the other ones. This one's they're seeing exactly what they're about to get into, but they can't really do anything about it. So that actually is like totally different tension, right? Which was fun to play with. Katie was asking, was Luna originally in this episode when we see her as one of the prisoners that's thrown into the labyrinth? This was a really great question. And I will share that she wasn't actually. It was originally a nameless fairy, but while working with my developmental editor, we talked about making the danger when they see the labyrinth more personal, and came up with the idea that one of Quinn's former pirates could be the prisoner. And I love the idea so much that I made, and I think it made these scenes more powerful. So, because even when she like saves Luna, like again, that wasn't Luna at one point. Actually, yeah, I didn't even have her trying to save the nameless prisoner, but she like had her and Aaron were going to leave, and they made like a sound as they were leaving, and that's when Moonface chased after them. So I didn't even have this whole scene where like they were fighting, Moonface's kobold band of whatever. So all of that is like fairly like within the last year kind of developed. And I thought that yeah, just made it that much better. And then if you notice too, in the early scene, I think it's the second scene of this episode, and then in this scene, we see Moonface both these times, and there's little hints of him transforming into a goblin with the sweating and like discoloration of his skin. And so, and there's purposely a lot of mystery around him and everything because there's going to be more explained in episode 6. But I did really enjoy having Aaron and Quinn working together, especially when I added the whole element that they tried to save. Well, they did. They saved Luna, and Luna saved a bunch of the other ones. So that was really cool to play with. Courtney says, I didn't watch Mulan. I wanted the music. Yes, and they got rid of Mushu. Like, how can you not have Mushu in Mulan? Like, how often do we get to sing Let's Get Down to Business, right? Be a man, right? one of the greatest Disney songs. I don't know why, but I just love it. Ara says, do you like the Atlantis legends? I loved how the whole underwater city made it felt like we were there. Yay, Atlantis Legends. I don't know that is that a show? Or is it a book or a movie? I don't know. I would love to check it out though. Leanne says, how did Luna get caught? You're going to have to read episode 6. Great questions, Leanne. Mary says, it definitely made the scenes more powerful having Luna there. I agree. So I'm glad that you approve. His kobold band of whatever. I don't know what they're called. They're definitely not working for the main kobolds though. They were like hiding it, right? So we'll see what's happening with that. Ingrid says, seeing the trial they had to go through before being thrown into it made it terrifying, but so suspenseful, especially because they really got to see how brutal it was and how casual the kobolds were about it. Right. Good. I'm glad that was effective for you guys. Okay, then we get into a quick scene of Vale and Quinn training. And I will just say that it was a goal of mine to have at least one scene in every episode where Quinn was training Vale, because their kind of developing relationship, friendship is something that's going to culminate. Obviously a lot of things will culminate at the end of the series. And so I had a lot of fun with the little banter and different things, and seeing Vale kind of get better in this scene. And I think my favorite training scene between them, though, is going to come up in episode 6. I'm excited for you guys to read that. We get to see the pixie dust factory next. And again, this was inspired by Beta's request to see more of how pixie dust was made. So that was really fun to write. The tunnel library, which we've talked a little bit about, the design of it was actually inspired by a couple Pinterest drawings that I saw, art paintings that I saw on Pinterest. And I meant to put it in the slideshow, but I forgot. Maybe at some point I'll share like on Instagram or something. But I saw, this like long kind of room, like tunnel room, and books like all around the center. And then like a step out, like only halfway through. And I was just like, whoo, this could be like such a cool thing to play with. So it sounds like you guys really liked it, which I'm glad. And I also thought it made a lot of sense that there would be libraries in the Kobold tunnels, because the sylphs wouldn't be able to keep all of their books, because they love all their books. But the balance, I think, of how I built in that, and like the world building, and how there's like a delicate balance in Eldor. That's why they have to keep a lot of like the archived books in the tunnels. And then we see Alice, Hickory, and Quinn again, the trio, and really enjoyed writing how Alice could help Quinn sift through her memories and kind of see if there was anything that needed to be healed so that she could learn how to master her fire even more. And obviously that backfires with the scene seeing her mother struggling through the fire, which leads us into this all is lost part of the episode where we have Faden. We see Faden in Quinn's memories. He's actually smiling at her as a little as a sprite. And then we have the encounter later where Faden is still talking roughly to her, but he also makes the illusion that like she's just as valuable as Gaius was. And that also that he confirmed that he saw Gaius's plague-ridden body, and that's something that Quinn did not know before. Just details about his death. So then I'm going to try to get through some of this because there was a lot of questions about the trial of creativity that I want to get to. But I'll check comments in just a second. Quinn then distances herself from everyone because she's like dealing with the heaviness of what she just saw and what it could possibly mean. And it shows like the breakdown with each relationship that she has built up until this point, and especially Aaron, and like that scene where he's on the other side of the door, and just the dialogue in there. I really enjoyed writing. And then the queen sends her this message that she still intends to give her the ship as long as she plays by the rules. So then we get into the trial of creativity. I had a few things to share there, but I saw more comments coming through. More talk about Mulan. Yeah, we just don't think about it. Let's see. Ara says Atlantis being the lost city of ancient times. Oh, just I see. You just mean the legend of Atlantis. It has been put into fiction, but is real world myth legend, a wondrous underwater city. Yes, and that was definitely something I've mentioned that was a big inspiration for the Nymph province for sure. Disney Atlantis, the Lost Empire movie is so good. It is so good. Like, we're driving. All the movies, all the shows, you guys. I really like that one. Jackie says, which trial was the hardest to come up with? Oh, that's a really good question. Oh, I see Katie here too. I'm going to get back to that question because we're going to go into the trial stuff, Jackie. He says, I still don't believe it was Gaius's body, forever in denial. Keep reading, keep reading. Episode 6, I'm not saying anything. What's your favorite magical power in your world? These are such good questions. I wish I need to write them down because I can always answer them at the end. But let me think about which trial was the hardest to come up with. I'm actually just going to take a picture of your comments because then I don't have to spend time typing it. Okay, cool. Just in case. So which trial was the hardest to come up with? Oh gosh, I feel like this one was the hardest to like get nailed down, the exact details. Yeah, I think, and to like really visualize what it would look like. And I'm going to talk about exactly how it came to be in a second. Does anyone, hold on. What's your favorite magical power in your world? That's a hard one too. I'm going to have to like chew on that. Do you guys have a favorite magical power that you've seen so far? I think I really enjoyed playing with Alice's power, maybe the most, but I really love all of them. I love Aaron's silver tongue and Hickory's painting the future. Obviously Quinn's fire and all the emotions that come with it too. But Alice's healing ability and the way she talks like through touch and like all that stuff, that was probably my favorite to write. Does anyone know Princess Kita's full name? I do not. What is that from? The door scene was a very Legally Blonde, the musical. I've never seen the musical. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to go check that out. Aaron's silver tongue, Hickory's vision, Alice's healing, and Quinn's fire. What about Vale? That might be something I have to talk about after episode 6 as well. But yeah, let's pocket that for after episode 6. But she does there have been hints at like what she can do. It's just not as overt as the others. And obviously like potions is something that the sylphs it's not like a magic that comes out of it, out of them, but it's something that they can do really well. Um, she has a knack for ancient languages, which might be hinting at something. So let's talk again after episode 6. Let's see. Bonus points for her last name. Okay. I think you guys are talking about somebody that I'm not sure. Courtney Potions, right? Knowledge. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would say. Okay, let's talk about the trial creativity, and then we're almost done. We just got a couple housekeeping things at the end, but you guys had some really great questions about the trial of creativity in the labyrinth. So some of you are asking, where did the inspiration come for this trial? So with the Kobold Etho of creativity, I wanted a trial where they have to use their creativity and resourcefulness to survive, but I wanted it to feel very unique as well. And when I was plotting and drafting, I was heavily inspired by 2 movies, The Maze Runner and Labyrinth with David Bowie. Does anybody know what Labyrinth is? Yeah, because a lot of Maze Runner is more recent, but Labyrinth is pretty quirky and kind of cult classic. The Maze Runner had mazes that had more physical challenges, while the Labyrinth had some great mind puzzles and riddles, which I really liked. Plus, David Bowie's character fit the Kobold vibe really well as I was watching it for research. And how I came up with the obstacles and riddles, as I actually did a lot of Google searching for riddles and wrote a bunch of them down and then narrowed it down to ones I really liked that, were kind of hard to figure out, but also simple enough that like you could kind of answer it with a one-word answer like Quinn does. And I also wanted to be able to relate them to a physical element, because you can see how Quinn starts to put it together that whatever the physical obstacle is, it's kind of like a hint at what the answer is to the riddle. And so then it was my developmental editor, though, that really challenged me to make sure that the riddles and challenges connected to Quinn personally in some way. So we have Echo is the first one, and she's dodging arrows, and she has to make a weapon or a shield and a weapon. She has like a sword type thing to then protect her as she's figuring out the riddle. And this kind of hints at her clan and their love for weapons and her ability to kind of put something together and use it with her strength and like her kind of strategic physical gifting. You can tell I'm not very physical, so like the words are not coming to me, but you know what I mean. Then we had breath and water. And this was dealing with her fear of drowning that sort of started to develop in episode 1. And also we see her desire to live to see the others. And that's kind of triggered by the fact that like the last time she was drowning, she remembered Aaron saving her, and she actually wishes he was there to save her again, even though she's not wanted him to save her the whole time. So that was kind of the emotional, personal connection there. Then we have the mechanical pneuma and the answer of silence, and sort of referencing this impending danger that the prophecy is alluding to. And then we have the final door that had 3 riddles that answered in the moons, darkness, and fire. All of them either had to do with the prophecy that they've been trying to figure out, or her magic, and kind of hinting at that. And she could kind of wrestle with those kind of things. I saw some comments coming through, so I'll pause here. Where did I leave off? Okay. Yes, Labyrinth. It's a fun movie. I was getting Labyrinth vibes. Yes. Heard of Labyrinth, never saw it. It's definitely kind of quirky, kind of trippy. But just remember it's like a cult classic. And if you can keep that in mind, I think you might enjoy it. Maze Runner was weird. I actually really enjoyed the Maze Runner movies, but that's just me. I love the Labyrinth, and I miss David Bowie. Yeah, I know. Leanne says, we were just talking about the princess from the Atlantis movie. Oh, thank you. I could not. Yes, I can't. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name here, but yes, her name is very cool. But I was like reading it really fast, and I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about. So thank you for clarifying. Courtney says, the Maze Runner was on my mind. The Labyrinth needs to be re-explored. Harry Potter's maze. Oh, and Harry Potter's maze. Yes. Book version, not movie. Yes, came to mind as well, right? Because there's like the Sphinx who gives a riddle, right, in the book. That's true, that's true. Ours says, "One of us always lies and one of us always tells the truth." Yeah, that is a great riddle from the Labyrinth movie. I read the second Maze Runner book. It made no sense to me. Yeah, I haven't read the books, you guys. I just liked the movies. Jennifer says, "I love Labyrinth when I was a kid. David Bowie was really cool in it. Don't get me started on how amazing his music was." Right, exactly. Leanne, were all the competitors' challenges in the maze specific to them, like Quinn's? I do have a question about that, so I can answer that in a second. And then, where did you learn her last name? Oh, okay, you guys are talking Google. Google is the best, you guys. Okay, so exactly the next question I was going to answer is, were the other competitors' riddles or obstacles the same? Um, Obviously, we don't see it on the page, but in my mind as the author, they all had different ones. And you can kind of see that from the injuries they have, especially Aaron's, because he was burned at one point. And I never plotted out exactly all the other obstacles and riddles because I knew it was not going to make it on the page. So I more thought about like varying their injuries to kind of make them different to show that they went through different things. And in my mind, because I think Katie was saying it'd be cool to like see you write bonus scenes of like each person's path through the maze and how it was different. It would take a lot of time because again, I'd have to like think of all these different kinds of riddles. But I do think that somehow it would have been cool if each of their kind of challenges were catered to them. And I don't know how the kobolds or who would have picked the challenges for Quinn necessarily and would have known enough about her to know that some of these things would be as connected with her, like her drowning or, the Numa. I mean, the Gwillians, it's stated in episode 1 that the Gwillians, part of their job is to patrol the border of Phelan, and before the Numa were um, banished from the world, that was part of their job, is to like make sure that the Numa giants didn't come into Phelan. So that could be a connection, but like nobody else knows about her fire. So it's like I wanted them to be connected, but and it would be cool if the other competitors had challenges that like challenge them in a specific like emotional or physical way to them. But again, it's like trying to figure out like who exactly was behind making sure that that was a thing, if that makes sense. Another question I got was, did they encounter anything? The others encounter anything in the tower? Did they enter the tower at different points? So that's how I see it in my mind. And I tried to explain it, but maybe I have to be a little more clear if I update the paperback a little bit. But in my mind, they entered different entrances of the tunnel. So at no point in the lower part of the tunnel would they have met. Again, I tried to kind of show this in the scene with Luna and all the different competitors or prisoners entering at different points. And so when Quinn gets into that room, this is her room, but I didn't necessarily envision that all of them would have an additional challenge in that last room. It would just, they'd have to get into that room and go up the stairs and like get to the top to win. Because Lord Zephin does say that they'd have a certain amount of challenges. So I think it's 4. Yeah, they said there are three challenges, I think, and then there would be one at the tower, which was the door. And so if there was one inside, that wouldn't have been an additional one. And I did have it envisioned that Moonface found a way in to wait for Quinn. And obviously he knows the tunnels fairly well because he was hiding out with these other kobolds and transferring pixie dust illegally. So I think he could figure out how to get into the labyrinth. And someone, I think maybe Courtney, asked, was Jasper really in the labyrinth? And yes, this was not an illusion. Jasper was really there. Quinn really killed him. And the last question I saw about the trial was, did you know the black market pixie dust experimentation Moonface subplot when you first wrote the book, or was it added later? And I think I had some of it in mind, but this is also something we can talk more about after you guys read episode 6, which we'll talk about when we're going to talk about that at the end. And that is pretty much it, I think, for behind the scenes stuff that I had. So I'm going to check out comments. Let me know, you guys, if you have any big theories for the last episode before we get to the end. You can type that in there. I'm not going to comment on it, but I will read it out loud. And let's see. Hi, Cody. Thanks for joining. Jennifer says, I kept getting the Maze Runner and Blade Runner movies mixed up. I'm grieving, so my thought process are all over the place. Sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're grieving. Obviously, I was going to say, I hope everything's okay, but obviously something is not okay. But I'm glad you're here with us, and I hope our chat is encouraging to you, Jennifer. But I think that's something easy to like kind of mix up. But I'm sending love and hugs and prayers. Leanne says, I know we get the answer in the next book, but how can Quinn lose her fire? We will see. We will see. Hopefully it makes sense by the end, but if it doesn't, we can talk about it more in our final book chat. Crystal says, passes Jennifer a cup of tea and snuggly sweater. Yes, agreed. Cool. Okay, I'm going to see. All right. I see some other comments on YouTube before they're popping up here. Oh, wait, here we go. No theories for me since I know things. But I can say that the finale made me cry when I was a beta reader, so you bet it's going to be a wild ride. I remember you saying that when you first read it. And again, that was like an earlier draft, so that meant so much that it like impacted you so much. I'm going to cry just thinking about it. Courtney, I don't think Quinn truly lost it. I think she went numb from grief. Good theory. I'm saying good as in like, I like that there was a theory, but I'm not saying yes or no. Leanne, what do you know, Ingrid? Yes. And then let's see, Jennifer, your live chats are one of the only two that still make sense to me right now. Sending so much love, Jennifer. I'm so sorry. Ara says, I suspect Quinn and Aaron may change the taboo of Fae intermixing romantically. Ooh. Again, I'm just saying that I like the theories. I'm not saying yes or no. Yes, we're sending hugs. Everybody send some wonderful caring emojis to Jennifer, please, and I will put them up on the screen. Ara is also saying they may all win together. Again, not saying anything, but I like it. Theories are fun to make. Yes. And see, guys, this is part of why, especially like I wanted to separate this book up into parts and be able to talk to you in between them, because this is the experience we get, is that it's like a TV show where you're like, what's going to happen next week? And we get to talk about it and see what you all are thinking as it goes. So I hope you guys are enjoying this aspect of it, and that it's really fun. Let's see. JJ says, we know so much. Yes, JJ knows as well. Stop taunting me. Yes, sending Jennifer some love. Thanks, guys. Oh, I'm glad that these chats help bring a little light into your day, Jennifer. I love your expression. Yes. Okay, we got some more love. Yeah, I think they are doing it on purpose, but in a loving, taunting way. Virtual hug, yes. We're all here for each other, you guys. Okay, so before we wrap up and I tell you some things that are coming up, let's first talk about the competition related activity for this episode. If you haven't heard about it already, to celebrate episode 5's trial of creativity, we're doing something really fun. Basically, I wanted to create a way for more fantasy writers and readers to connect in a creative way. So I've decided to host an Instagram challenge in our Insta stories, which is a lot easier to keep up with than a normal Instagram challenge where you post, a new post on your feed every single day. I'm calling this challenge #FindFantasyFriends, and I'm sharing a new fantasy related template that you can copy and use yourself. Each day one's template was posted today on my Instagram stories, and I'll share a new one every day until episode 6 releases. And you can engage with as many or as few as you want. It's just a way for you guys to like connect and have fun. And just make sure you're following me over on Instagram at author Brittany Wang. And I've linked my post that gives the full details for this challenge in the description of this video. So you can go check that out and check out my stories to grab the templates. And I'll also save all the templates in a highlight on my Instagram as well. We'd love for you to join us. And that's our book chat for episode 5, friends, but I hope you're excited for episode 6. And I thought I'd close our chat by reading you the official blurb that I'm going to share during tomorrow's cover reveal on Instagram, and it will also go up on Amazon and Goodreads tomorrow. So here is the blurb. And I tried to keep as many spoilers out of this one as possible, but also hint at some tension-filled things that are going to happen. So if you absolutely do not want any hints at anything, you could just mute this video until I switch to the next slide. But if you want to hear it, here is the blurb. So Edge of Fates, The Gwyllion Battle is the title. The tagline right now is "The final trial will decide the fate of all." And here's the blurb. Quinn's fire and the ancient tome might be gone, but with only one trial left in the Gwyllion Mountains, at least the worst will be over soon, or so she thinks. When a new betrayal reveals a shocking truth about her brother's death, Quinn is blackmailed into keeping it a secret. Competing in the trial of strength is her last chance for redemption. But the challenge is more cutthroat than the heirs bargained for, and an unexpected twist unveils there's much more to the competition than what they imagined. As dark events from the ancient prophecy start to unravel, competitors must become allies before there's no world left to rule. And if you've heard that line before, I've used that as the pitch or at the end of the pitch for this story before, sort of summarizing the whole series. So I'm really excited I got to use it at the end of this blurb. So I'll go to the next screen just in case you were muting it so you didn't hear it. You missed the blurb. You are safe. But now that we have episode 6 up and the cover will be revealed tomorrow, we have a complete set, you guys. These are all the beautiful covers. They're so pretty. I'm so excited. Hillary did such a great job. And speaking of covers, cover reveal for episode 6 again is tomorrow on Instagram. And here's some of the pretty mock-ups my cover reveal team will get. And if you would like to help celebrate tomorrow and you're not already, you can still sign up for the cover reveal team, which is linked down below. And I will send you all the details tonight if you sign up, or even tomorrow if you sign up, I can still send it to you. But yeah, thanks you guys so much for hanging out with me. As always, big thanks and gratitude to my ARC readers and my incredible ARC team who is going above and beyond to help promote this series. Thanks to my amazing patrons who have been supporting me for a very long time, and you all are so awesome. And my supportive YouTube members too. You guys are fantastic. And again, I love seeing all of the emojis. I see emojis of all the different characters now because we have all the covers in the comments. So that's really great. Next week is our final release party, you guys, for episode 6. This is so bittersweet. So bittersweet. We will have special guests, games, and giveaways. So it's going to be like just a big celebration. And we won't have a specific topic we're talking about, but there will be set areas of Q&A. So if there's things that you asked tonight, I can kind of chew on them some more if I didn't give a thorough answer. If you think of more questions, I just won't be spoiling anything for episode 6 during that release party because some people will have just gotten the episode that day. We will have an end of series book chat at some point after that, and I will share next week during the release party when that end of series book chat will be. And if you guys know anyone else who might want to catch up on the series before it ends so they can join the release party, be sure to let them know about this series this week and that it's not too late to jump in because like a lot of you have been reading through the series, you know that each episode takes about a day or so to finish. So if we have 7 days until the final book comes out, people could definitely catch up if they wanted to. So just an encouragement, if you want to help me share it out so we have even more people that are finishing along with us, celebrating with us at the end, and then also getting in on the final book chat, which I think could be really epic. definitely go ahead and share that. And a great time to do that would be tomorrow during the release party. So I'm going to look at final comments. Then we will close. And I just saw some comments that made me smile. So now I lost my train of thought. But also, if you're getting early copies tonight, then within the next half an hour to an hour, just give me a little bit of time. It should be in your Kindle, episode 6. Let's see. Taunting lovingly. Yes. You guys are so funny. Wait. So excited for episode 6. Feeling the love, you guys. Yes. Phelan unite for the challenge. Woohoo. Cannot wait to read this. The final version is new to me as well, so I guess I can't know everything. That's right. There might be some new twists. Yes, we all tease. We tease so much. A new betrayal. Whose betrayal? I don't know. You got to read it. You'll have it. You'll have it soon. Oh my goodness. So excited to read. Yes. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Now I'm on the edge. Good. Chills, literal chills. Oh, good. So the blurb is really connecting with you guys. I'm so excited about that. Yay. Love these covers. Me too. They do look so good together. Mad love for your designer. Yes. Go show her some more love on Instagram because she's fabulous. Can't wait to read this when I wake up. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You need to go to sleep. Ara, thanks so much for being here. All the books look so good together. I'm so excited. Yes, lots of fun next week. What am I supposed to do when these book lives are over? I know. It's going to be so weird, you guys, not talking to you about the story like every week. But I will talk about, I think I forgot to mention, but next week I will also answer the question of what is next for me, what stories are next, what things am I planning even for this series or for different books, and yeah, just like sharing what things are coming up, because this season might be over, this series might be over, but there's so much more to come, so stay tuned. Episode 6 cover is my absolute favorite. Yes. She needs to write more books. Yeah, give me some time, but it will happen. What kind of fairies are the fastest flyers? Well, I will say that I think I've said in the series that the strongest wings, the fairies with the strongest wings are Gwillians. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the fastest, I guess, but I think that makes them good contenders. Let's see. Ingrid chat with fellow readers while Brittany writes more. Yes, and if you guys are in the Facebook group, that's where I'm going to be too, like doing like little updates here and there for this series over there. So make sure you join there. Sisters of the Shadow and next, I hope. We will see. We will see. It's definitely on my list. Ingrid says it's been so much fun talking about these episodes as we read them together. Yay. I'm so glad, you guys. I know it's like not everybody has been able to catch up and be at these live, but hopefully if you're watching this and you're watching it on the replay because you read the series later, that you're still really enjoying being in on the conversation post time. So what I miss, you're gonna have to watch the replay or any of the other videos down below to catch up. And all the hearts, can't wait to join for all that is to follow. Thank you, Ingrid. You guys are amazing. So if you heard that, that was a really loud motorcycle. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. You guys are awesome. It's been so much fun. And don't worry, it's not over. We have one more release party and at least one more book chat. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So mark your calendars next week. I'm pretty sure we'll still have it at 7 next week. We might start a little bit earlier, like 6:30 or so, but I'm pretty sure it's still going to be at 7. Anyway, I'm going to sign off so I can send these early copies to you guys, and we'll see you later. And hopefully we'll see you for the Find Fantasy Friends challenge on Instagram too. Okay, bye guys.